Hello, hi, and let's learn to program by making games. This will be another supplemental episode, similar to the last one about functions. But in this one, I want to cover lists, or tables, as they're called in Pico 8. So what is a list? A list can also be called an array, or a table, or a sequence. Basically, it is a data structure that holds multiple instances of some other data structure. And this is very useful because it allows us to have many of a similar thing and to basically perform an operation on them effectively at the same time. Actually, one after the other, but since computers are fast and good, it would appear as if it all happened at once. So let's make a list. I think this text here can be a pretty good example. So I'll take this, copy it, and I'll go up here. And I will call this intro text. Intro text. I think that's fine. And we use the equal sign for the assignment operator, and a list or a sequence is created using these what are called curly braces. So in between the curly braces, you can put whatever you want, separated by commas, and then you have a list. So here we want to paste our text, and I will get rid of these print statements from in front of the text, and I will go and add a comma to the end. So bear with me as I do this. All right, that took a long time, but I got there in the end. So now we have a table called intro texts, table or list. In Pico 8, they are actually using the same thing, a table underneath, so I will be referring to them using both terms. But just know that in Pico 8, they are very similar. So I will run this now, and okay, we get an error, unclosed curly brace, line 17. So what does that mean? Probably means that there's a comma missing somewhere, because this should close it. Okay, yeah, I see that there's a missing comma here. Save, run. Was not expecting that to do anything. Okay, because we did not delete this. So let's delete this from here. Save, run, and we don't get anything because we're not drawing anything anymore. But we do have a list. So for a list, a common operation is to take all of the elements in a list and to do something with them. So here we were printing them separately using separate print statements before. So now let's use a loop to loop over the list and do something with each element in the list. So I'll go to my draw game function, which is where I want to perform the draw. And I will have a look at how I can create a loop. So right now we have what is called technically a sequence. And to loop over a sequence, we can use a for loop, for example. So let's see. Let's break this down. I'll start with this hashtag operator. So hashtag and something like, what did we have? Intro texts. This gives us the length of the sequence. So if I were to, I'm gonna put this into a variable called L, and I will print length. like so. I'll get rid of this for a while, run it. Okay, unexpected end. Okay, yeah, because should that was part of the for loop. So now we have length is 16. That means that this list has 16 entries. So that's good. So now we can use this in our loop. So the syntax of the loop is similar to the syntax of a function or an if statement. There is an end statement at the end, and it begins with for I equals 1, length of p, 2, and then something. So p, or length of p, this is actually the number of times that we want to run this loop. So if I would say 10, and I would go in here and I would print hi, then this should print hi 10 times. So I'm not going to count, but it's either 10 or 9. It'll be fine. So what we want to do is that we want to loop over basically however many elements there are in our list. So I will put the length of the list or the sequence here, and I will now run hi. But actually, instead of hi, I'll print I itself. So what is I? I starts at 1, so this is an original assignment, and I will be incremented by 1 by the list itself. So in the first loop, or in the first iteration, I will be 1, then it will be 2, then it will be 3, and so on. So let's see what we get if we print this. So we have 1 and we have 16 at the end. So that's quite good. And how can we use this to print our list? Well, to access given element at a list, you have to use its index. So to use the index, you will do something like, I will just create a variable called element, and I will type the name of the list or the sequence. Then I use square brackets, and I put in the number. So number 2, for example. This will now print, okay, didn't do anything, I'm sorry, because I forgot to print element. So this will now print second element in the list on every single time. So what we want to do is, since we have this I variable that is increasing, we want to take the ith element from the list. And since it starts at 1 and ends at 16, this will print all of the list. So if I now save and run, this is almost the same as before. We do have some issues. For example, guess is nil. So let's see what that is about. I assume it's because guess is not defined yet. So guess is 0. And press X to confirm, and then it says a function. So what is this? Press X to confirm. Info is a function. So go here. Now, okay. And info, I think, will have to be an empty string. So for now we should have the exact same thing that we had before. And we also have some debug stuff, I think. So print result, get rid of that. And now we have a list. Isn't that nice? So basically, this should serve as a small introduction to lists. We will use them in our next project which is a word guessing game. And it is something that you will use very often in your programming journey. So thank you very much. As always, if you have questions, then please let me know. Happy to help. Happy to hone my explaining skills. And see you next time.